another. We have our own resolutions to do all this.
This is Mike Johnson. He's the House Speaker, and he is in a full panic. Why? Well, for starters, he's Trump's bitch, doing Fat Donnie's dirty work on the unconstitutional ICE raids, tariffs, and supporting Trump's lies and obfuscations regarding the media. But that's not why he's freaking out. It's because there's a growing and urgent pushback in MAGA and what's left of the GOP to open up the Epstein files.
It's sitting on my desk.
And altar boy Mike, in between prayers, is supporting a man accused of assaulting underage girls. Now, of course, these Republicans have had a share of pedos in their party, especially the religious ones, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But right now, Republicans like Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dairy Queen, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace have all backed Thomas Massie's bipartisan legislation, which basically says,
seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
And these Republicans are all saying the same thing. Mike Johnson and other Republican leaders are in a panic mode, and they're threatening supporters of this bill, a bill to release documents related to child sex predator Jeffrey Epstein. Congressman Massie, again a Republican, said that Johnson and others tried to get the four of them to take their names off the petition, saying they asked some of my colleagues who are co-signers and actually threatened them politically.
According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors, such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information, and we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
Your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of two different United States attorneys' offices. They reviewed all that. Yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
Okay, that begs a question. Why wouldn't Patel, the fucking director of the FBI, review the files where victims name the men who abused them? You know he's lying. He knows the names. Why wouldn't he just say that? And now Massie thinks he has the votes to force altar boy Mike to open the files.
Plus, the breaking news tonight, Democrats securing the final push they need to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files, as Democrat Adelita Grijalva wins the special election in Arizona's 7th congressional district.
Now, as you might imagine, Massie is getting pressure from Trump, Johnson, and other MAGA pedos over his calls for more Epstein files to be released. And to recap, Epstein died of an apparent suicide in 2019 while awaiting charges on sex trafficking. His longtime procurer of these young girls, Ghislaine Maxwell, is currently incarcerated for sex trafficking, which the Department of Justice said she did in cooperation with Epstein. She was and is a monster. So why did conservative Trump media say this?
And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim.
Again, you'll have to understand she was a fucking monster.
She reportedly procured and groomed the middle school and high school age girls that Epstein and Maxwell and others reportedly preyed on.
Virginia Roberts was working in the spa at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach when British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell introduced her to multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein.
The training started immediately. I mean, it was everything down to how to give a blowjob, how to be quiet, be subservient, give Jeffrey what he wants.
So after all that, why would Trump say this?
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew. Do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly.
But of course, you know the answer. Maxwell could rat Trump out, and that's why he's entertaining a pardon for her.
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
And Trump is moving her to more comfortable prisons, and everyone can see it.
For nearly an hour today, the U.S. Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, answered questions about a plea deal he brokered as a federal prosecutor in Florida more than a decade ago. At the time, financier Jeffrey Epstein received a jail sentence that critics have called unusually lenient. Earlier this week, federal prosecutors in New York brought new charges of sex trafficking against Epstein. Today, Acosta defended his handling of the 2008 case.
We believe that we proceeded appropriately.
So what was the deal Acosta gave Epstein? Well, a federal investigation into Epstein from 2006 to 2008, where evidence and testimony was presented showing Epstein had sex with underage girls and could have faced life in federal prison where there is no parole. Well, instead, after this deal with Acosta, Epstein got 13 months. Acosta, who was serving as a U.S. attorney in southern Florida at the time, approved the deal. And because of the sweetheart deal, Epstein had to make payments to victims and register as a sex offender, but that was it. He was allowed to continue traveling and conducting business. And then guess what happened? The guy who gave the sweetheart deal to Epstein, Trump made him Secretary of Labor.
There's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take this global cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles out. And I think we have the president to do it.
Look, Dairy Queen, Boebert, and Mace are legitimate MAGA. They have no problem rounding up American citizens who look like they could be undocumented and throwing them in prison. And they all want to take a big steamer on the First Amendment as it applies to anyone who protests Trump's policies. But when these three stand up to Trump and say, release the files, you get the sense there's a cancer growing in MAGA.
I want to ask you about the Epstein files.
And of course, the question is this: what's inside the files? Well, Trump's fight to squelch the contents is very suspicious. Is he in there, or are there people who would rat him out if it went down? I mean, what other reason is there for him not cooperating?
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to demand that Donald Trump and our Attorney General come clean to the American people and release the Epstein files. Now, this weekend, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." Well, Mr. President, a lot of people actually care. And we know that MAGA was all in on Jeffrey Epstein. Now, my Republican colleagues have sent letters, they've posted, they've demanded disclosure. Donald Trump Jr., the president's own son, has tweeted dozens of times about this case. FBI Director Kash Patel swore under oath in front of the Senate that he would be transparent with the American public and release the Epstein files. He said, and I want to quote, "Make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened," that he would do that. That was his quote. Now, in February, our Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News that Epstein's client list was, again, and I quote, "sitting on my desk right now to review," end quote. Now, they claim there was never a list. And this weekend, Donald Trump claimed that the files were written by Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Biden administration. These are bizarre reversals. And it's obvious to the American public. Someone is lying, and someone is trying to hide something.
It appears more and more likely that Trump has two options: force people like Mike Johnson and Kash Patel to keep the files hidden, or destroy them and say there was nothing there.
I know that these pictures exist. Two of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap. I remember Steve Bannon said to me, if there were ever photographs, Trump would merely say, "That's not me. That's somebody else."
Fake news.
But here's the question. Will MAGA continue to support a monster who did this to a 13-year-old girl? Because how the Republican Party acts here and now will define them for all time.
In 2021, as part of Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, it was revealed that Donald Trump lied about riding on Epstein's plane. He actually flew on it 7 times.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
It's sitting on my desk.
Do you have no shame?
Goddamn right.
Are you not entertained?
Who are you talking to?
I could be a stupid person.
Trump admitted he knew Epstein for 15 years.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm sorry, man.
So you're a nasty person.
It's not fair.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
TikTok.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.